Hello guys, welcome back to LR Anime. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of BTTH the Flame Emperor episode number 161 based on novel. So let's start. It's almost there. I don't know how many hours passed. Xiao Yang's pupils opened slightly, looking at the hated old monster in front of him. The hated old monster at this time has undergone earth-shaking changes. The strength of the original 8-star fighting emperor in the early stage has now reached the level of the middle stage of the 8-star fighting emperor, and the half of his face, which has long been beyond recognition, has vaguely grown flesh and blood. It seems that the emperor leopard was directly swallowed by the hated old monster. Although I don't know what this guy wants to do, he still has some strength. Xiao Yang stared at the hated old man and spoke slowly. Ha ha ha. Success. The next moment, the hated old monster suddenly opened his eyes and burst out with a very crazy smile. But that smile stopped abruptly when he saw Xiao Yang. Forget it, this kid's soul power is too terrifying. A second-rank emperor pharmacist, maybe I can go out and rely on him, so I'd better not offend him first. After a while, the hated old monster's eyes kept spinning, obviously thinking about the problem. Old hate, is your affair over? Xiao Yang immediately asked when he saw the old hate opened his eyes and looked at him motionlessly. Hey, don't worry, I'll tell you everything you want to know. The hated old monster gave a fight and then said. That's good. Xiao Yang suddenly smiled when he heard the words. Then let's talk about the strange life force in your body first. Since the old hater decided to have a good relationship with Xiao Yang, he naturally wouldn't hide it and immediately export it. Indeed, when I broke through the 6-star Do Emperor, there was no vitality in my body at all, so I don't know much about what it looks like now. Xiao Yang nodded immediately after hearing this, and then looked expectantly at the hated old monster, trying to get from him what do you know. I carefully sense the power in your body. Flame attribute, I am afraid that as a pharmacist, your flame power is more powerful than other practitioners. But the reason why you don't have the power of birth in your body, I suspect, is largely because you haven't survived the calamity. The hated old monster said slightly. No tribulation? Xiao Yang was shocked when he heard this. What this hated old monster said is true. When he entered the desert mountain range with the strength of the 5-star Do Emperor, he was lucky enough to get the holy flame and swallowed the holy flame in one fell swoop. Xiao Yang was completely unaware of the calamity. Am I right? After the old hater finished speaking, he thought for a while for Xiao Yang, and then stared at Xiao Yang with a smile. How did you know? Xiao Yang asked in surprise. Hehe, I didn't know the news at first, but I sensed the abnormality in your body, and I remembered that there is such a thing. As for how I know, this is probably related to Guanghan Island. The hated old monster said. Guanghan Island? Xiao Yang frowned upon hearing this. Hehe, don't doubt my identity. If I want to lie to you or kill you, I won't waste so much time in vain. I know because I have entered Guanghan Island. There is a Tibetan scripture pavilion in Guanghan Island, and there is a record of your situation in the Tibetan scripture pavilion. The hated old monster explained to Xiao Yang. No wonder. Xiao Yang was relieved when he heard the words, and then stopped talking, waiting for the hated old monster to speak again. Although there are records in the Tibetan scripture pavilion in Guanghan Island, your body is extremely special. I think it's because I swallowed some heaven and earth elixir, and that huge energy blocked the 6-star Do Emperor's life calamity. The hated old monster continued. If that's the case, then what should I do? Xiao Yang saw that what the hated old monster said was similar to his own situation, and immediately believed the words of hated old monster. Hey, if you want to crack your weird thing, it's hard to say it's not easy, but it's not easy. Hate the old monster seems to laugh. Don't give a shit, just say it. Xiao Yang was a little anxious and hurriedly spoke. It's simple. Retranscend the calamity. Hate the old monster is not selling off, and he said it word by word. Retranscend the robbery? Isn't the calamity of the 6-star Do Emperor triggered only when the strength reaches the 5-star Do Emperor and successfully advances to the 6-star Do Emperor? Xiao Yang was immediately puzzled. 6-star Do dishing tribulation is indeed as you said, but you forgot that you did not fail to cross the tribulation, but were blocked by the powerful medicinal power. Moreover, this Moonlight Island has a feng shui treasure that is tailor-made for your situation. After the old hater finished speaking, he suddenly smiled a few times. Obviously his voice was full of laughter. Where? Xiao Yang was shocked when he heard the word. If he could attract the 6-star Do Emperor to die, Xiao Yang would have absolute confidence to get through it. That place is called Life and Death Eri Spring. The voice of hating the old monster sounded slowly and uneventfully. Life and death Eriaquan? Xiao Yang heard this. Obviously he was quite unfamiliar with this unfamiliar name. That's right, it's life and death Eri Spring. Hate the old monster continued. This so-called life and death Eriaquan not only strengthens the power of life and death in human beings, but also has some mysterious effects that help evolution. Moreover, it will also have indescribable benefits for you to attract the 6-star Do Emperor to live and transcend the calamity. The hated old monster said with a nostalgia. Evolution? How is that possible? Xiao Yang muttered in a low voice. Xiao Yang knows that once the power of life and the power of death are born, the quality of the 1st to 9th ranks largely determines the strength of a cultivator. He has never heard of any magical medicine that can make them evolve. If it can be purified, even if it has the slightest possibility, I am afraid it will attract the coveting of countless powerhouses. Nothing is impossible. After all, this is the relic of the fairy moon. It is said that fairy moonlight's perception of the stars and moonlight has never been compared with anyone else. However, the kind of power that can only be mastered by an immortal warrior. For you and me, it is too far away. The old hater said with a nostalgia. Where is the 2nd Ichuan of life and death? Hearing the words so powerfully, he immediately asked with hope in his heart. Hehe, that thing is not far from us. It's in the base camp of the vicious boss. After saying that, the hated boss suddenly laughed. You hate the old monster, are you kidding me? Xiao Yang immediately frowned when he heard this, full of anger. I didn't play tricks on you, that thing is indeed occupied by the vicious old monster. And I'm not afraid to tell you, don't say it's you, I'm afraid it's me and the 2 hated bosses, and they won't necessarily beat the vicious boss. Hate boss said. It seems that this is troublesome. Xiao Yang finished speaking, his pupils filled with a deep color, but no matter how difficult it was, Xiao Yang would not give up this opportunity. You and the resentful old monster can't beat the vicious old monster. But the next moment, Xiao Yang suddenly spoke up. My strength is probably the weakest among the 3 old monsters, but now that I have devoured the Emperor Leopard, plus some of the things I have cultivated, now that my strength has returned to the middle stage of the 8-star Do Emperor, I can even deal with the resentful old monsters. But it's still not enough to deal with the vicious old monster. Hate the old monster said helplessly. What kind of strength does the vicious old monster have? Could it be that the 9 stars Do Di has suddenly appeared? Xiao Yang hesitated before opening his mouth slightly. If the strength of the vicious old monster broke through the Joshing Do Emperor, I am afraid that the 2 Ichuan of life and death are in good hands, and Xiao Yang has to think about it clearly. People who have no strength are naturally extremely difficult to deal with. Boy, do you think Joshing Do Di is Chinese cabbage? Hearing the words, the hated old monster gave Xiao Yang a blank look and said immediately. The strength of the vicious old monster is only in the late stage of the 8-star Do Di. If we fight alone, we are not afraid at all. But this guy seems to have a natural understanding of animal language, and he has a good relationship with monsters. So in my memory, there are no less than 10 powerful monsters around the vicious old monster. And one of them is a monster with a history of 10,000 years. This is the reason why we are afraid of the vicious old monster, otherwise, how could the treasure land of the 2nd Ichuan of life and death be eroded by it all the time? After the hated old monster finished speaking, his voice was full of jealousy. A 10,000-year-old beast. Xiao Yang heard the words, but now he became vigilant. Many monsters are different from humans. As the monsters survive longer and longer, their strength will become more and more terrifying, and monsters have a long lifespan since ancient times. However, for monsters that can live for more than 10,000 years, they are probably more powerful than the Imperial Leopard. The strength of the Emperor Leopard is already that of the 8-star Do Emperor. This Emperor Leopard has not survived for 10,000 years. The beast that has existed for 10,000 years may have already stepped into the 9-star Do Emperor, which made Xiao Yang have to become heavy. Moreover, Xiao Yang remembered that although his uncle, the Golden Dragon King, was of the dragon family, in the final analysis he belonged to the class of beasts. I am afraid that his uncle had been alive for nearly 100,000 years. Since the matter is over, then I won't accompany you anymore. After the hater finished speaking, obviously there was still something to do, he said immediately. Oh, wait. Then what happened to the fighting spirit? Xiao Yang immediately asked when he saw that the old hater was about to leave. The strength of that fighting spirit is unfathomable. Originally, the fighting spirit was in Jade Rabbit Island, but I feel that now he should go to Guanghan Island. There is something in Guanghan Island that attracts him. I don't know exactly how to conquer the fighting spirit, But if you want to conquer the fighting spirit, you hold this thing, it will definitely be used later. I got this thing at the risk of my life. If you hadn't tried your best to help me, I wouldn't have taken it out, said the hateful old monster. Okay. Xiao Yang hated the thing in the old monster's hand that was wrapped in a mass of silver-white power. Although he couldn't see exactly what it was, Xiao Yang could feel an ancient aura from it. If that's the case, then let's go, I have other things to do. Hate, the old monster said, and then the figure disappeared instantly. This guy. Xiao Yang watched the hated old monster disappear as fast as lightning, and immediately said a word, then without hesitation, he swept out of the ground and headed for the large army. No, why hasn't Xiao Yang come back? We have to go in and have a look. After a while, Lung Fuyao couldn't hold back and said anxiously outside the Zizhu forest. Lung Fuyao's attitude towards Xiao Yang has undergone an earth-shaking change since he knew that in order to save himself, Xiao Yang went into the dangerous purple bamboo forest desperately. Fuyao, don't worry, Xiao Yanji has his own vision, and we will only cause him trouble if we go in. Qin Xin spoke slowly. But Lung Fuyao wanted to say something just now, but the words couldn't come out of his mouth. Don't worry, Xiao Yang will be fine. Mu Yingying stood up immediately. Mu Yingying and Xiao Yang were some famous friendship, so Mu Yingying was naturally Xiao Yang's tyranny. Hopefully. You also murmured in a low voice, obviously worried about Xiao Yang. Immediately, the group waited outside the purple bamboo forest. Hey, young master, look. What is that? Not far from Mu Yingying's group, the two thin figures slowly appeared, and one of them spoke slightly. What beautiful women. The man known as the young master cast a glance, and suddenly there was a strange look in his eyes. Master, these women are all very good looking. I'm afraid only this kind of woman can match you. Those ordinary girls in the outside world are not worthy of you. The thin figure continued to flatter. Oh, that's it. The man said. These two are clearly disciples of the Ming sect. Mingjiao, this is a sect with uncertain affiliation. Some people have investigated whether Mingjiao is right or wrong, but the final result is a great disappointment. Mingjiao's headquarters is located at the top of the light, which is an extremely dangerous place. Among the Mingjiao, it is said that it masters assassination and is on the edge of Shentian-san. It can be said unceremoniously that Mingjiao is the most powerful killer organization in the entire Shentian. As long as you pay enough, the Ming cult will have the courage to take over even if you are an immortal warrior. As for the two young disciples in front of them, they are the most outstanding disciples of the Ming cult this year. This time they sent them to the ruins for the purpose of training and participating in the sect competition in the future. The man's name is Xu Guang. He is dressed in silver, and his body is silver and white. With his beautiful facial features, he has the demeanor of a handsome man, and the thin man beside him is a submissive. It looks like a follower. A powerhouse in the early stage of the 7-star Do-D. And it looks a bit like Shou-Chi from Wanhua Pavilion, said the silver man Xu Guang. Shou-Chi? Although that guy's strength is only in the early stage of the 7-star Do Emperor, he is comparable to a powerhouse in the middle stage of the 7-star Do Emperor. The attendant was shocked when he heard the words. Try it in the past, so many beauties, even if they can't be in their pockets, they can still be friends. After Xu Guang finished speaking, he rushed to the Zizhu forest with his entourage. Xu Guangning, as a representative of the younger generation of Mingjiao, although he likes outstanding women very much, he will not be blinded by women. Hehe, a few beauties, don't know what you are doing here. After a while, Xu Guang brought his entourage slowly to the Zizhu forest, and then asked politely to Mu Yingying and her party. Sure enough, she is a top-quality woman. Xu Guang got close to these women, only to realize that these women are all top quality. First was Mu Yingying. She really had a holy aura, like a peerless woman who was not rendered by the atmosphere of the world, and although Lung Fuyao was cold on the surface, Xu Guang knew that if this kind of woman captured her heart, she would be so hot. How wonderful will the fiery passion be. In addition to Qin Xin's noble aura, one can tell at a glance that she is from a famous family, and Yueru is even more stubborn. Obviously each has its own characteristics. Go away. Xiao Chidai frowned, obviously not knowing why this Ming sect disciple came here. Mingjiao has always been contradicted by the major sects in Shentian 3 days. Someone once offered a sky-high price to try to kill the head of the super sects. After the failure, the Mingjiao was directly attacked by several super sects to attack Guangmingding, trying to destroy the entire sect. The Ming cult was wiped out, but it failed in the end. The danger of the top of the light far exceeded their imagination. Since then, the Ming cult has also restrained, and some assassinations have been carried out in secret, but it has not made the super sect angry. Hey, Miss Shochi, the ruins are extremely dangerous, and there are many friends and many paths. And I think you guys are weak, so why don't you go with me and take care of each other? Shu Guang opened his mouth slightly. No need. Where did you go back from? Xiao refused directly to Shu Guang's invitation. Mingjiao's behavior is too weird, and it's a natural killer organization. With such a team of people who are willing to betray teammates for profit, Xiao will definitely not do it. You. Seeing this, the little entourage beside Shu Guang shouted angrily. Hehe, I don't know what you are doing here. Seeing this, Shu Guang immediately stopped the little followers behind him. This is not the Ming cult. The strength of his followers is only a 6-star fighting emperor, and Xiao is a 7-star fighting emperor. After being beheaded, Shu Guang would also have a slight pain in his flesh. What's your business? Seeing this, Xiao immediately knew Shu Guang's strength. In the early days of the 7-star Do Emperor, he snorted coldly, and there was no fear in his voice. When Shu Guang heard the words, he immediately turned his gaze to the purple bamboo forest in front of him, but he smelled a dangerous aura from the purple bamboo forest. These guys are clearly the first people to enter the ruins. Why are they staying here? Could it be that there is something in the ruins? Shu Guang thought for a moment, then gestured behind his back to his little entourage. This. The little follower immediately understood Shu Guang's intention when he saw Shu Guang's gesture. Because this gesture, in their Ming cult, is clearly a signal of attack. Go ahead, I'm afraid they are waiting for something here. After a while, Shu Guang suddenly snorted coldly, and then the dazzling energy of life suddenly appeared around him. Humph. Xiao seemed to have long known that Shu Guang would do something to them, and immediately snorted coldly, and the same huge energy of life immediately emerged from her body. Be careful of their hidden weapons, Xiao said coldly to the crowd behind her. With so many people behind him, it would be unrealistic for everyone to protect them, but Xiao knew that the focus of protection was Yueru, regardless of her status as the inheritor of Yueru or the perfect strength of the 5-star Do Emperor. I've heard about the strength of Wanhua Pavilion in the early days of the 7-star Do Emperor, and its pure fire used to move flowers and trees. I'm fortunate to see it today. It's as powerful as the rumors say. It's even brighter. Try it and you'll know. Xiao snorted coldly, and her figure shot directly at Shu Guang. Now that Xiao and Shu Guang's strengths are both in the early stage of the 7-star Do Di, the two can be said to be true powerhouses, so the two immediately fought each other. Moving flowers to join trees. Yueru heard the words, her beautiful eyes filled with surprise. Although I knew for a long time that my senior sister was the most outstanding disciple of Wanhua Pavilion, but now I am a little surprised to hear that my senior sister has successfully cultivated flowers and trees. Moving flowers and joining trees is a set of saint-level fighting skills and exercises. The use of a complete set is enough to make Xiao leapfrog battles. So even though Xiao is in the early stage of the 7-star Do Di, but with the advantages of martial arts and fighting skills, leapfrog battles are also possible. Not a problem. This is the most precious thing in Wanhua Pavilion. It is said that only the direct disciples of the Pavilion Master can cultivate. Although Yueru can also cultivate, but Yueru has not contacted it yet. Hehe, you guys, let me meet you. The next moment Shu Guang's little entourage showed a strange smile, staring at Mu Yingying and the others. I'll go with her, and you guys will protect Yueru. Mu Yingying hesitated, facing Mu Feng behind her, and said Lung Fuyao. Seeing this, Qin Xin nodded immediately. Now her strength is the 6-star Do Emperor consummation, and Mu Yingying's strength has also reached the late 6-star Do Emperor. As for Mu Feng and Lung Fuyao's strength, they are a little weak, so Mu Yingying does not will let them go on an adventure. Do it. Mu Feng and Lung Fuyao heard the words, and just wanted to say something, but they heard Mu Yingying and Qin Xin's two voices shot at the same time. You two, you really look at me. Shu Guang's little entourage said something secretly, and then two rather obscure black things seemed to appear in the palm of his hand. The two black things were wrapped by a black beam of light, and the light could not tell what it was from the outside, but one thing was certain, the danger that thing brought to Mu Yingying and the two was no less than that of 7-star Do. Shu Guang in the early days of the Emperor. Look at the move. Qin Xin did not hesitate immediately, the dazzling energy of life in her hands suddenly gathered, forming an extremely huge flame palm, and attacked directly at Shu Guangxiao's entourage. Mu Yingying was attacked by a tiny flame in the palm of her hand. Boom boom boom. Shu Guangxiao's entourage smiled slightly in the face of such a terrifying attack, as if he was not afraid of the attack of the two, But at the moment when the two attacked and just let go, on his palm, the mysterious thing exudes a black breath directly. Dark Sky Star. Break me. Xu Guang's entourage stared at Mu Yingying and Qin Shin's slender figures resentfully. Since they can't get it, then die. A smile appeared in his eyes. Not good. It's too late. Qin Shin and Mu Yingying exclaimed at the same time, obviously not expecting that Xu Guang's entourage would be so insidious, using a hidden weapon, but there was a flash of shock in their heart. At this time, the offensive on the palms of the two women was extremely powerful, and they attacked Xu Guang's followers directly, but faced with their sudden hidden weapons, it was too late to defend. The two girls pierced through. If such a terrifying hidden weapon penetrates, then its fate can be imagined. Haha, it's really a super sect to do this to the two women. Just when the two women were shocked and could do nothing, a gorgeous flame appeared in an instant, followed by a heavy back. Ruler man, die. Two splendid flames directly burned out the black dark star, and then behind Xiao Yang, the unusually splendid eternal fire eternal ruler shot directly at Xu Guang's entourage. Be careful. Facing the sudden powerhouse, Xu Guang snorted at his entourage while fighting Xiao Qi, because even Xu Guang, who was as powerful as the 7-star Do Di in the early stage, felt a burst of horror at the splendid flames on Xiao Yang's body, and his entourage is only a 6-star Do Emperor consummation, but the feeling is even more terrifying. You'd better deal with it first and then talk about it. Seeing Xiao Yang's return, Xiao Qi immediately stopped worrying about Mu Yingying and the others. Although Xiao Yang's strength is only a complete 6-star Do Emperor, even if he is himself, he may not be able to defeat him, so facing the complete 6-star Do Emperor's entourage, there is no need to worry. Not good. Ever since Xiao Yang appeared, Xu Guang's entourage freely gave his incomparably vicious hidden weapon to the, and immediately knew that Xiao Yang was not easy to mess with, but just when he wanted to escape from this place, he was blocked by Xiao Yang. Die. The ancient ruler of the eternal flame in Xiao Yang's hand quickly lifted up, extremely dazzling, and then slashed directly at the entourage as fast as lightning. This Xu Guang's follower is too fast. How can he have the speed of his own strange fire and ancient ruler? The ruler went up and down, and the next moment, Xu Guang's pupils shrank tightly, because he was shocked to see that his entourage was cut in half by Xiao Yang. The head and body split instantly, and then the blood erupted like a volcanic eruption. In a short time, there will be no life. Seeing this, Xu Guang roared angrily. Although his entourage was weak, but fortunately he had a tacit understanding with him for many years, and now he was directly beheaded by Xiao Yang. How could he not be angry? And if this matter is passed back to the Ming cult, I am afraid that I will be troubled a lot. It's up to you to take the blame. Xiao Yang spoke directly when he saw that he had killed the entourage who was trying to kill the two girls with a hidden weapon. However, just after Xiao Yang finished speaking, he stared at Xiao Qi and Xu Guang who were fighting beside him. With Xiao Yang's perception, he naturally knew that Xiao Qi did not use all his strength. Then he cast a glance at this lifeless follower, his eyes flickering uncertainly. Refining the body for the ancestors, although there are magical beasts and blood essence of the 5-element beasts, but the body of the medicine pill and duty powerhouse is still missing. The next moment, Xiao Yang directly lost all vitality. The body of the follower will be included in your own ring. Boy, give me back his body. After a while, Xu Guang was furious when he saw Xiao Yang put away the body of his entourage, broke free from Xiao Qi's shackles in an instant, and then roared away at Xiao Yang. Seeing this, Qin Shin and Mu Yingying nodded slightly to Xiao Yang. It was obvious that such a vicious hidden weapon had just appeared. If Xiao Yang hadn't appeared, they would have been in a very dangerous situation. After all, this is only the periphery of the ruins, not the center of the ruins. If too many killers are exposed, it is not good enough. No need. Faced with Xu Guang's roar, Xiao Yang said lightly, and immediately prepared to deal with Xu Guang. If it was someone else, forget it, but this Xu Guang's subordinates actually used such a sinister hidden weapon to attack their people in the burning incense pavilion. Naturally, Xiao Yang would not sit idly by. I want to see how much strength this guy has. Xiao Qi closed her hands slightly, then returned to Yu's side. The corners of her mouth moved slightly. Xiao Qi's strength is stronger than Xu Guang's, so Xiao Qi didn't use all his strength in the battle between Xiao Qi and Xu Guang just now, but only entangled Xu Guang. Xu Guang couldn't support for many rounds and was defeated. As for the words just now, it was obviously what Xiao Yang said to Xiao Qi. Is he going to be all right? Seeing her senior sister retreating directly, Yueru asked worriedly. After all, she wanted to challenge Xu Guang in the early stage of the 7-star Do Emperor with the help of the 6-star Do Emperor consummation, but it was a little difficult. Don't worry, Your little lover is much more powerful than you imagined. Xiao said something, and then stopped talking. Give me death. A dangerous aura emerged from Xu Guang's silver body, the powerhouses in the early stage of the 7-star Do. It's nothing more than that. Xiao Yang snorted coldly, and then the dazzling different fire eternal ancient ruler lifted directly and shot towards Xu Guang. Although the powerhouses in the early stage of the 7-star Do were terrifying, Xiao Yang was not afraid. Boom boom boom. Xu Guang's dazzling silver-white vitality was attacked by Xiao Yang, and he immediately became distracted. Not good. Seeing this, Xu Guang's anger was temporarily suppressed by Xiao Yang's powerful strength. Xu Guang knew clearly that the man holding a heavy ruler in front of him, the gorgeous flame on his body actually made his life force tremble slightly. If you don't take good care of your subordinates, you will end up now. Xiao Yang took Xu Guang's seemingly terrifying blow and spoke immediately. Others are afraid of his identity as a Ming sect, but Xiao Yang is not afraid. For those who dare to touch their burning incense pavilion, Xiao Yang will definitely not show mercy. Boy, how dare you kill our Ming sect people? Xu Guang hesitated for a moment, turned his head and saw Xiao staring at him with malicious intent, making a slight noise. At this time, he is only the strength of the 7-star Do in the early stage, but there are many people here who can kill him, so Xu Guang also has the intention of retreating. Ming cult. I also want to ask you Mingjiao, who has the guts to use hidden weapons to kill our Wanhua Pavilion and Funxiang Pavilion people? Why is it? Xiao Yang also snorted coldly, trying to use the sect to scare Xiao Yang. Obviously Xiao Yang don't be afraid. You don't want to deceive people too much. Xu Guang heard the words and wished to kill Xiao Yang directly and immediately said angrily. Too deceiving. Why didn't you ask him when your follower shot just now? You still dare to question us now. I think you are. Xiao Yang said here, and a murderous intent emerged, obviously even in the face of Ming sect disciples. Xiao Yang's choice, since ancient times, is that people don't offend me and I don't offend others. If others move him, they will never let him go. As soon as Xiao Yang finished speaking, Xu Guang's eyes suddenly became distracted, and he obviously wanted to retreat. After all, Xu Guang alone could not handle Xiao Yang and his team. Since you're here, let's stay. Xiao Yang slowly followed, and then he lifted his palm gently, and a gorgeous lotus of annihilation slowly appeared. With the appearance of this lotus seed, Xu Guang suddenly felt a wave of death, and then hesitantly, the speed increased to the extreme, and he fled into the distance. Xu Guang knew clearly that if he was touched by this fire lotus, he would have to peel off his skin even if he didn't die. Want to run? How can it be so easy? Huang Quan is angry. A roar resounded through the sky. Ah. The source Xu Guang could still escape from Xiao Yang's attack, but at the last moment, he was blocked by Xiao Yang's soul power, and then all the dazzling flame fluctuations hit his body without a trace. The sound of screams echoed over the entire purple bamboo forest. Bang bang bang. The purple bamboo forest was in the air, and as the dazzling flame storm slowly dissipated, a figure also appeared in everyone's pupils. This guy is really terrifying. He didn't fall even after receiving such a terrifying blow from Xiao Yang. Xiao looked at Xu Guang, who was slowly falling from the sky like a dead dog, and said immediately. At this time, Xu Guang's silver clothes were obviously burnt and tattered, and even his body had some very obvious burn scars. These scars were clearly caused by the fire lotus that Xiao Yang had just attacked. Perhaps because of Di Yang's terrifying destructive power, the corners of Xu Guang's mouth shivered. And at the last moment of being attacked by the soul power, Xiao guessed that Xu Guang must have used something powerful, otherwise he would definitely fall under the soul power and the powerful fire lotus. Asshole. Damn bastard. I have written down this hatred, and I will make you pay it back in 1,000 times in the future. Xu Guang's voice was extremely resentful. With his severely injured body, he stared at Xiao Yang fiercely, and said without a word. He never imagined that this mere 6-star Do Emperor consummate powerhouse in front of him would almost let him fall here forever. Ha ha ha. Xiao Yang, in the future, you should wait for the assassination of our Ming sect's darkness. After Xu Guang finished speaking, a strange silver light flashed all over his body, and then the space in front of him suddenly trembled strangely, and then Xu Guang's figure disappeared directly among them, and then disappeared. Stop chasing, this is a high-level space scroll, and the cost is quite expensive. But it seems that the grievance between you and Mingjiao is forged. Xu Guang's status in the Ming cult is not low. The Ming cult is a powerful sect that focuses on assassination. You will have a good life in the future. Seeing Xiao Yang wanted to catch up, Xiao spoke immediately. Let's take one step at a time. Xiao Yang shook his head. If he had just added the power of life to the fire lotus, he would probably be able to kill Shu Guang directly. It seems that the matter of the power of life should be resolved as soon as possible. Are you all right? After Shu Guang's affair was over, Xiao Yang asked Qinshin and Mu Yingying. It's all right, thank you just now. Qinshin answered very cheerfully. Facing the hidden weapon of Shu Guang's entourage just now, if it wasn't for Xiao Yang's appearance, I'm afraid she and Mu Yingying would be extremely passive, and might even be injured. The matter of Zizhulin has been resolved. After a while, Xiuqi leaned up slightly and asked Xiao Yang. Solved. Moreover, the road to Moonlight Island is not limited to this one. I think there should be a lot of powerhouses gathered in Moonlight Island. Xiao Yang said with a smile. Where are we going next? Lung Fuyao was looking forward to it. Since Xiao Yang was here, she seemed to be a little witch who was not afraid of anything. Now, go to Life and Death Area Spring first. Xiao Yang said. Life and Death Area Spring, this is a good place. Qin Xin and Xiuqi were shocked when they heard the words. Obviously both of them knew the strangeness of this place. Although the others were puzzled, they did not ask questions. After all, they knew that Xiao Yang would not lie to them. Let's go, the matter in the purple bamboo forest is over, now go to the Eri Spring of Life and Death. After Xiao Yang finished speaking, he led the crowd towards the purple bamboo forest. With the disappearance of the hated old monster, the Zizhu forest suddenly became calm, and everyone easily passed through the Zizhu forest and headed towards the Spring of Life and Death. However, as Xiao Yang and his group walked, the Moonlight Island suddenly became lively. Except for Xiao Yang and his party, others also entered Moonlight Island from the various entrances of Moonlight Island. As for the rumored equal Spring of Life and Death, it was rumored to be known all over the island. Hey, have you heard? The island we are on is called Moonlight Island, and it is said to have many treasures. And the other two islands, one named Yutu Island and the other named Guanghan Island, actually seem to have the existence of fighting spirits. Behind a rock, some disciples who entered the ruins said slowly, Hey, the news you know is out of date. Would you like to know more exciting news? In the crowd, a dark-looking man laughed. What's the most exciting news? Following the dark man's exit, the surroundings suddenly quieted down, obviously all looking at him with envy. Hey, it is said that there are some strange places on Moonlight Island, I don't know if you all know about it. The dark man said indifferently. What's so strange? Hearing the dark-skinned man say this, the crowd immediately became restless, and it was obvious that some clues could be heard from the dark-skinned man's words. Miss, this time we have to show the ruins well, otherwise, if we return to the valley in the future, we will inevitably be scolded by the owner of the valley. Outside the crowd, a girl floated her head and said to a woman beside her, Let's see the situation. When entering the ruins, the master watched the sky at night. It seems that the ruins will not be very peaceful this time. The girl was indifferent, without the smile of the attendants. However, the girl is wearing a roe deer with a mysterious star pattern, which looks quite mysterious. I don't know what the crowd is discussing, but it's so lively, miss. Let's go and have a look. The maid just finished speaking, and immediately pulled her master towards the crowd. It is said that in Moonlight Island, there are some treasures of feng shui, and this treasure of feng shui is called the Spring of Life and Death by us humans. The dark-skinned man opened his mouth slightly after seeing everyone's expectant gazes. Life and death to Ichuan? I'll be darling. How could there be such a thing in this ruins? Is it really the Spring of Life and Death? Miscellaneous words from the crowd kept ringing. Life and Death Ariaquan? The smiling maid heard the words and immediately looked at her master, as if she had heard the name from her master many times. It's actually the Spring of Life and Death. I didn't expect to encounter such a strange place in this ruin. The girl opened her mouth slightly, her voice full of obsession. I don't know, Your Excellency, where is this Life and Death Ariaquan now? The girl took a step forward and asked the dark man just now. Haha, now there are a lot of strong people watching outside the Ichuan of Life and Death. It seems that something is blocking it, so no one enters it for a long time. Well, where is it? After the dark man finished speaking, he directly pointed the girl in the right direction. Thank you. The girl was shocked when she saw this, because she sensed in the direction of the dark man's direction, and she did have some taste of life and death. Xiaobi, let's go. The girl murmured immediately, and then walked in the direction pointed by the dark man just now. Hey, miss, wait for me. After that, the girl and the maid instantly got up and ran towards the Spring of Life and Death. But just after the two women left, the dark-skinned man murmured, Why do these two look familiar? One star after another. Could it be someone from the Valley of Astrology? After the man finished speaking, he was extremely shocked. This video will end here.